So I wanted to make a series of me playing ladder, going and in depth discussing why I make certain decisions and what I do. I'm not the highest ranking player in AOE4. I'm only at 1.4k on my highest account. But I do enjoy RTS games and I have quite high experience in other games, so I thought it might be interesting for some people to see the insight of my decision making and what I decide to do in games. So first of all, this is Lipany, Rus versus China. I think China has one of the lowest win rates on Lipany, at least on the higher end of the scale. This is because Lipany is a very open map and it's quite difficult to hold off, which is what you want to do as China. You want to just max out on 120 workers and then spam units out constantly into the enemy. At least on most maps anyways. And here it's going to be pretty difficult to do that for my opponent. Rus fares pretty well on Lipany. There's a decent amount of deer and it's quite a small map, making it quite easy to go around and get it all before the enemy does. My typical Rus build is always with a hunting cabin build. You go hunting cabin, house, lumberjack camp, whatever it's called, I'm not actually sure. And then into 4 scouts before age up. The 4 scouts run on the map, killing every single animal, just then exploring the map. And you should be able to go up at standard-ish time to H2. It shouldn't slow you down even though you make multiple scouts, because the Rus is just really good at early game due to you not having to gather any gold. And this will help you obtain the maximum amount of deer. Now there are different amount of scouts you may want to go for. 4 is just a number I like, because then you can pump out 3 more during aging up before researching professional scouts. And obviously, while with the professional scouts being completely busted currently, there's no reason not to go for professional scouts, and Rus is generally the best civ to go for professional scouts with. There's not much else to say for now. Just wanna gather as much bounty as you can. I kind of ignored some wolves on my top right scout, which is not the best. But generally you want to at least reach 250 bounty before H2, as that's the second tier of bounty. No, I was quite lucky here. My opponent was not paying attention to it. He just shift clicked everything, so I could just snipe all of the D away from him. Generally, it's just the way scout micro war, where you animation cancel, attack each other until one gets too low and has to head back off. In this scenario, you always want to send your nearest scout to help, so you can get more deer, even though it truly was not required here. It's still always nice, as every deer is 10 gold, which to get to 250 is required. So obviously I'm gonna go up with the Golden Gate. There's currently pretty much never a reason to not go for Golden Gate. You can just make safety stables as soon as you age up, and then the Golden Gate provides so much more benefit than the Kremlin ever does. I do hope this is going to be changed a bit. I really like the idea of there being viability of different age ups landmarks. Here I also mess up a bit and I don't build the additional scouts in time. Rus is one of my more played civs, but I've mostly played the French so far, so I am a bit rusty. I started out mainly Rus at the start of the game, and then I switched between many civs, and I want to be comfortable playing every single one. But yeah, so I mess up a bit and forget to build additional scouts, which, I mean, I don't know if you don't think it's particularly required, but I myself prefer go up to 7 scouts, so that I have the perfect amount of scouts to go and pick up 1 camp, as every single camp spawns 7 years. So yeah, I was able to go up to 250, which is all you really want. 250 is kind of a low milestone, but like 300 is something more acceptable. but to 50 is the bare minimum essentially. If you don't get to 50, it's somewhat poor. So here I want to make sure that I have some security for my defense, so I'm gonna make a stable or two, and just so I can pump out knights if need be. As Rus gets access to knights at H2, it's one of the most OP features for early game, having knights at H2, as you only counter is spearmen, and well, they're not even that of an amazing counter. Like, if you have just a small amount of advantage in terms of the amount of knights you have, you can just destroy spearmen as well. I feel like knights are still a bit too strong. Maybe the knights in H2, both for French and for Rus, could be a bit nerfed in the future. But yeah, I'm just want to keep on my scouting, go around the map. I want to get in position to pick up his deer first of all. You always want to pick up the deer on your opponent's side of the map first, since it's easier to defend your own deer. And in the current meta, professional scouts, well, again, at the highest levels, for professional scouts is what you go for. And it just the main reason why it gives such a huge advantage is that you will run out of food, and you don't want to make a mill or hunting camp or whatever the specific building is in the middle of nowhere to collect deer. And this also reduces the movement distance for workers to move between the camp and the deer. It is all around just insanely broken. It gives you a lot of food income while not needing to build farms or put your workers at risk. So until deers get a bit rebalanced, I think maybe the amount of food income should be equivalent to ship, or maybe they lose a bit of food if you transport them. I'm not sure what's the best way to manage that, but currently it's very strong, and it's the optimal strategy to go for. Now with Rus, I usually want to go for a fast H3 into and the second DC at the same time. Using the golden gate, you can trade twice for stone, and then you'll have 300 stone, so then you just need to make up for 400 wood, and then you'll have a second TC. It's a pretty simple way to go up to a second TC. And the H3 is also very easy to reach due to having an excess amount of food with your professional scouts. But this game I did not go for second DC, and there's no real reason I didn't. It just just kind of how the game went. I just didn't go for it, and it probably was a mistake in the end. And I also did not initially go straight for the second pickup of opponent's deer, mainly because it was further away and wasn't looking like he was going for professional scouts himself, and I was just more or less a bit lazy more than anything. So obviously the optimal composition with Rus is horse archers. They're just, again, just like a lot of things in this game are currently kind of broken. The mobility that they have and the range is kind of absurd, so it's really hard to counter that unit. Obviously archers still do well against them, and specifically Chinese, I have no idea what they're called, but the Chinese repeater crossbow counters them directly. And my opponent actually did go for professional scouts, but for him it was way less full waste. I got a bit over 3 camps worth of deer, and he only got like 1 or maybe just a bit less under 1, so it wasn't as worth for him as it was for me. I don't know if actually the investment was worth for him at all. Maybe it would have been better for him to just put more workers on wood and go into farm straight away with the H3 granaries that the Chinese get. It might have been more worth. Now I want to go up to 500 bounty, so I'm gonna go around and kill the boars on the map. They give 75 gold, so it's a very easy way to get up to 500 bounty. You can kill boars completely fine with 7 scouts. I think you can do it with 5 scouts as well, but then you actually have to pay attention a lot. Here with 7 scouts, you just very minimal micro here and there. Just pull out the one that's being targeted down. and then you kill the boar without losing anything. And since scouts regenerate their HP, it's not much of a big deal. Now, as you go up to H3, you want to start going around and getting relics. I prioritize holy sites here. Again, that's I would say a mistake. You want to just get the relics in first. But since my opponent is still not H3, he can't really contest me directly with that. So it's whatever. It doesn't matter too much. Another thing I like about Rus is due to having such a large amount of scouts, it's quite easy to scout around the map. So after I'm done with the boar, I will position him and wait where I can see wherever he moves out. Now here again, I probably should add a few more knights to my composition and not just horse archers, because the repeater crossbowmen do completely destroy horse archers. I just Rus versus Chinese is not a common matchup I play against, especially on a map like this. So I just did not really think about the confluence of just making horse archers primarily. But the weakness of the repeated crossbowmen is that they do about 0 damage to knights, since the whole point of them is that they do very small amounts of damage very often. So any high armored unit just deflects all of the damage dealt by them. So here I'm gonna go up to 2 sides and my newly made I forgot what they refer to, but basically I think I'm not sure, but the Rus version of Monk, to pick up the relic at the bottom and then capture the first site. And at this point I'm thinking about going for Holy Victory. My opponent is H3 now, so I want to get a few mangonels out in case he brings out spearmen, and just for the archers as well, as repeater crossbowmen as well. Mangonels deal insanely well with infantry. Man-at-arms it's a bit worse, but there's no reason for him to really build man-at-arms. I presume at this point that he would mostly be building spearmen and repeater crossbowmen. That's the most likely thing, unless he goes for an third dynasty, in which case he'll probably just spam out fire lancers. Now here I lose a few archers. I wanted to go for a small harass Run-By, but he has units in place, which makes me think that there's a scout nearby. So I go have a look around for it, and I didn't check too thoroughly. But yeah, I don't know so I'm not sure if it was by pure luck that he spotted me, or if he actually had a scout in place to see my Run-By. Like in this game, Run-Bys are incredibly broken. You want to go for Run-Bys whenever you can, really. The reason why they're so strong is that, unlike some other TS, I primarily played StarCraft 2 previously, where you cut workers at points in time. Up until like the 20-25 minute mark, you're not going to be cutting workers realistically. So there's no reason not to harass. Like, any worker you kill is a worker you're ahead of your opponent. Now the reason I also didn't think he was going to go for fire lancers is since he does not have a lot of eco. He didn't go for second or third TC. Whenever I play Chinese myself, I like to go for 3 TC boom, which allows me to just make which basically guarantees you a free win if you're able to reach the point of 120 workers. But since he didn't do that, it's going to be quite hard for him to afford large numbers of fire lancers. Fire lancers are quite strong, but you need a mass of them. A few fire lancers is not going to do much to your army, so you need to mass like 20-ish or more for them to actually have any impact. And with again nice bean and composition, they do very well to tank fire lancer damage. With a little bit of micro, they can be made pretty useless. The main scary factor of them, I would say, in 1v1 is their ability to just kill like 30 workers in just half a second. You have 20 workers mining on the gold, fire lancers come in, that you have no workers on that gold. That's a real scare factor of them tanking. Now, realistically, I want to keep the site because I just don't. There's no reason to make the reset on my sacred sites, and since he has no PMN, like there's no way I can lose the fight. He's gonna try to target down my horse archers, and which is the correct thing to do. I could have reacted a bit faster and moved him back, but I was just building some units in the background, and I do so in the end anyway. And since he moved out here, he lost some more units, I lost weathers, and since our eco is equal-ish, I'm not sure if the golden gates actually make my eco better or his eco is a bit better. But with my successful run-by, I should be at the least equal, if not positive, in eco. So as long as I can keep his army or his eco down, I am ahead. Now, I don't want to showcase my mangonels, that's why I'm making them off to the side and just parking them there. Like, if I don't make him build spring hills, then better for me. I'm not too much afraid of mangonels myself, since well, I mean, I feel like mangonels are somewhat useless in this game. It's kind of easy enough to maneuver against them, unless you have infantry, but all of my units are cavalry, which makes it pretty easy to avoid any fatal damage from mangonels, so I'm not too afraid of mangonels from his side. And I'm just gonna continue building up on siege, horse archers, and knights. Probably should have built a few more production structures, specifically for knights, so some stables. Since again, I still have yet to see any spearmen come out of him for now, so it probably would have been smart to do so. But for now, as long as I maintain the control of the sides, have two split armies, and scout around with my scouts in the position that they are to see where he moves out, for which side he attempts to go, then I should be fine. As you can see, he has his nest of bees out. I don't have many springles out. I probably should have maybe made a few more, but like I said, I wasn't too afraid of them. We just wanna intercept his army, maybe hit a mangonel shot from a stealth forest, something like that. Assuming he does move out, of course. Now at this point I've run out of my hunt, so I want to build up on wood so that I can make some farms here and there. Now here his main army is going for the same sacred site again, with one nest of bee. This army I don't think I can win with this army alone, so I just send it into delay while I move some other army back up. Sniping the nest of bees is quite important, since there's a few units there. But yeah, at the same time I decided to go for Run-By to do eco damage. Now, I'm not sure about this play. It might have been better to reinforce my army instead, so not reset the counter, but the amount of damage my Run-By does definitely makes up for the fight that didn't went so favorable for me. And here he could have just sent one worker to on the side way earlier, and at least reset my timer. At this point I'm very far ahead. We are up like 10-20 workers, and if he was taking down the site at least, maybe he could have reset the timer, but since he didn't do that for quite a long time, I'm not even going to end up losing the site. So here I just want to move back my archers while having my knights attack the crossbowmen. I really don't want to trade archers to crossbowmen, they will just get absolutely annihilated. That's why again I should have had a few more buildings for stables. Yep, now I'm adding them right now. I also don't think I need 6, even 6 on gold is probably too many, since I have 3 relics. Yes, this is that's why having scouts is so important here, because of the stealth forest. Having a mangonel in the stealth forest, or even a few mangonels, like 3 shots wipes out any infantry besides man-at-arms. 2 shots kills archers, I believe. I'm not sure if it does for spearmen, but it's just so easy to lose your entire army to just a few mangonel shots. And with them being set up with stealth forest and having a scout nearby, it can be so devastating. But my plan doesn't change. I don't want to go to H4. I'm basically committing on this holy victory. I don't see a reason why I would not be able to hold any push he does. The only way I would lose here if he out multitasks me, which so far I haven't seen him multitask at all, so I should be fine. And here the Mongol is being a bit annoying, not moving up and attacking, but this fight he has no chance of winning against this army. I think if he wanted to win this game, he should have went for better eco with a second TC or again even the free TC build and just defended himself. At this point he would have had just way better ecos than me and build up an army for a final push. You have a lot of time to stop a holy victory. 10 minutes is a long time for, like, it's a very long time for you to build up an army. There's no need to contest holy sites up until the last few minutes, because as soon as you enter the holy site with any unit of any of the holy sites, the timer stops. So if it's at 0001 second and you have one unit touch the holy site, the timer stops. So you have a lot of time to contest them. Yeah, at this point it's just delaying inevitable. I have better eco, better army, better everything really. I've probably been skimping a bit too much on my upgrades. Could have been, I think I could have built another forge and gotten more upgrades out. But yeah, that's I'm not playing perfectly either, but I'm so far ahead of my opponent. I'm not too bothered. I'm just making units and resupplying them in the front lines. One thing that I don't understand is why people just keep forcing themselves to attack the same point. Obviously I had an army on the lower edge of the map which would have stopped him going for the other sacred sites, but you know, you might as well send a few units down to another side, see if your opponent F2s across the map and just doesn't protect the sides. One extra thing I could have done again here is went for castles and build up a castle on my more isolated point. Since he's still not an H4, there's no good way to take down castles, because making trebuchets is just a waste of money. You pretty much never want to make a trebuchet, which leaves rams, or, you know, I get in case of Chinese fire lancers, but I don't think he even is in 3rd dynasty. And if he is, he does not have much time for fire lancers anyways. So yeah, this game is pretty much over at this point. I could have went for more harass on his wood line, but I just didn't want to move out. Or no mind, I do that anyways, because he doesn't seem to be going for my bottom holy site, sacred site. Yeah, this the game shall end shortly. He's gonna make one final attempt, but at this point I don't think his units can move up in 20 seconds up to the holy site even. He got even a bit sidetracked with my 4 horse archers doing a minor harass. Here just we run some Mongol shots, which you actually can't dodge Mongol shots even if you target them. They're somewhat dodgeable. Most of his tower is an infantry, but he doesn't do that, and he does destroy it in the end, but yeah, he just runs out of time, and that's going to be game number 1. So the point of the series is to be a bit more educational and to get a bit more insight of what I think about the game. Again, not at the highest of, not like at pro level of play, but like at top few percent level of play. So yeah, French I'm much more comfortable with in comparative to Rus, and I mostly play them on hybrid maps now. And yeah, so the standard build on a hybrid map I go for is 5 workers on wood. You pull one off depending on the map at different times to go to a different dock, which, you know, I don't have the exact times really instilled. I just kind of do it off by ear. Here, since the distance could be pretty large until I get to water, I pull it off basically immediately. And I have my TC produce workers up to 5 onto sheep. Make a house at 9, you know, make a dock afterwards as soon as possible. Sometimes maybe you make a dock before you make a house, but depends on the map again. Now, French versus English. No, I think English is one of the worst civs for hybrid maps. Overall, at the highest level of play, English don't fare too well. Other than that, English do pretty well on open maps that are just pure land maps. Like Lipany is okay, Dry Arabia is fine. After like 1.5k, English isn't really picked much or does too well, I believe. But up until that, they're very solid civ, have very strong defensive advantages, and makes it very easy for just to push across the map with longbowmen. With horsemen not being exactly as strong as they probably should be, in my opinion, anyways. Archers reign supreme, and longbowmen do so even more. So here I wanted to see what he's doing, if he's making a dock, and I haven't exactly gotten a confirmation on that, but at this point I am pretty sure he's not going to be going for a dock, which means to me that as long as he doesn't kill me in the next like 8-minute mark, then I pretty much win the game. That, or he doesn't kill the dock very shortly as well, but even if he does end up killing the dock, it's not going to be much of a problem as long as I am able to retake it. So yeah, since he's not going for a dock, I'm not going to go for more than one dock, and now try to focus up into getting H2 for myself. Excuse me. Yeah, after getting typically after getting 5 workers on food, I get 7 or 8 workers on wood. Instantly get the upgrade as soon as my lumber camp, I believe it's called. I'm really actually not sure what it's called, but as soon as my lumber camp finishes, I get the 25 gold 50 food upgrade, 25 food 50 gold upgrade, and that makes you that doubles your wood gathering rate. At this point I think I should have my scout a bit closer to his base just to see what he's doing. I don't really need more sheep because I have for 2 reasons, since I have the dock and since I have 2 deer camps insanely close to me. This is a very good spawn. So now I see something on the map. I'm not sure if I actually see it. I should do, hopefully. I guess I don't, but I'm pretty sure it was just a scout moving across the map. So yeah, at this point I'm gonna expect that he's gonna hit an age up in about a minute, maybe minute 30, and go for a some sort of longbowman push. This is not a really good idea, especially against French. You know, knights just make a short work of longbowmen, and even if you add spearmen into the mix, it's just oh, he actually is up quite fast. He probably had like 5-6 workers on his landmark. I should probably put a few more workers on my landmark to age up at the same time, since I would have enough food and gold to start producing knights instantly. So yeah, my main objective right now is to just hold. If I don't die, I will be able to win in my mind anyways. Holding down the port is quite important as well, but he cannot really kill it without a ram, and that's a large investment on his end. Like 300 for the ram, 5125 I believe for the upgrade, if I'm not mistaken. If he does end up killing my dock with that, I'll be more or less okay with it. I already got a lot of value from it. So here I just want to check to see if he's actually producing out of his town hall, or council hall, so my bad. I believe they will always pop out of the doorway. So if you have eyes on that, you should be able to see them pop out if you're paying attention. So I put more and more. I just rallied onto my TC, my landmarks, and he aged up pretty fast. Here, since I'm going to be producing units non-stop most likely, as he is indeed producing longbowmen out of his council hall, I just want to mass knights here. At least that's what I plan to do. Since I have a pretty good food income, I have quite a lot of villagers on gold. And yeah, I just want to mass knights to be able to hold his push. And I already see that he has spearmen into his ranks. Doesn't really change anything for me. I could have added an archer range and start producing archers, but I feel like my eco is so far ahead of his that I should just be able to build more knights and be able to just overcome his army. I want to keep an eye on his army more or less with my scout, which is why I moved it there, since his army was moving around the forest there, and I was moving in front of it. Again, weird pathing that he chose, but there's a very small number of units. Since I don't have really a mass of knights yet, even a few spearmen do pose a threat, but so I'm not gonna move out just yet. I want to make a bigger mass of knights before I do so. Now I feel like maybe I have a little bit too many people on gold at this point, but then I could go for a blacksmith, get some upgrades going, with the friends already getting automatically upgrades for melee attack. It will be beneficial to get some defense against the ranged and melee. Yeah, nothing that I'm not going to be doing anything differently for the next few minutes. Just maybe I should have had a few more workers on. Yeah, now I'm adding, but I should have moved even more since I have way too many people on gold. I should have moved more villagers on on wood, and then rather I would go for blacksmith, a third production building, or like stable. Either one, either way would work. Like this is definitely a mistake of having this many on gold. But I do move them off now. Since my eco again is just insanely greater than his due to having a dock. It's honestly insane the food income you get from a dock. I don't even need to push for him here. I think I will do so because I feel like I have a big enough mass of knights, and because he starts building a ram now, and he put his archers up front compared to his spearmen, which if I get a few connections off, should be nice. I don't have the hot micro here, I believe, so you really do want to pull back your weakened knights and make sure they don't die. Here I lost 2 knights where I could have maybe killed 1 more unit without losing a single knight, so that was really poor micro by me, really. Yeah, since the French knights have the don't remember what the upgrade called, but the ability to heal out of combat. Chivalry, I believe it is. Yes, since you have chivalry, it's any knight you don't lose is another knight you gain at full HP. So micro in the weakened one is very important in this particular matchup. So now he's gonna probably be able to destroy my fort. I get my blacksmith out to get my the upgrades going, the free one, and hopefully the paid ones as well. I want to stop this, or at least try to stop him. Maybe force him to micro, maybe he'll mess up. Since he has his unit somewhat far away from the siege engine, maybe I'll be able to come in and snipe it. Here he moves his archers a bit out, and I felt like I had just had enough mass of knights to be able to just move onto him. And I kind of do. I checked that my knights had very low HP and I should have moved them back there. I don't think I actually paid attention to it, even though I perfectly checked. So I could have had like, I would say 3 more knights alive maybe. Again, just no reason to just let them die for free. But either way, it doesn't really matter in this particular scenario. I should be able to get that down before. This should be fine. Might also stay up, albeit at very low HP, so I probably want to get some workers up front to repair it, since I'm sure he's gonna attempt to destroy it again. I'm thinking that I should be going up to H3 sometime soon, since I deflected his. Well, I don't know if that can be reclassified as a push, but whatever it is that he attempted to do. I should probably had my scout up further again, scouting to see if he was building units, if he was going up for H3 himself, whatever it is that he was doing, even though I doubt he would actually have the money to do that currently. Yeah, I will be going for H3 shortly. This tower by itself doesn't really do much at all, like, it's kind of useless, so I shouldn't have really tried to contest it, and even, you know, running my knights into the choke point again is not the best play. But because I'm so far ahead and the few spearmen that he has, it doesn't really matter. If he had more spearmen, or my eco wasn't as good, this decision would have been awful, but at this point it really doesn't matter. I do end up stopping the tower, but that, again, that's not very important. All it does is maybe allow me to kill a few more longbowmen, which isn't doing that many because spearmen come back. But that tower really serves no real purpose besides saving the life of 5 units, as it doesn't actually threaten my dock whatsoever. So yeah, like, I mean, I guess at this point I really could have just thrown down 2 archery ranges, started making archers out of it. Now that I'm gonna get tier 3, my archers will be also not that weak if I get the upgrade for them. Yeah, I'm lacking a bit of gold. I guess that's food. I mean, I guess that's due to the fact that I don't have deep water fish anymore, and I have less units on sheep. So I should have moved probably. Yeah, I did move everybody up from my bottom farm onto the deer, which is way more efficient in terms of food gathering. So in my mind at this point the game is basically over. I'm at H3, my opponent's at H2, I have better eco, his unit composition is better than mine, but you know, I just don't care at this point really, so I'm just gonna keep spamming out knights, get the upgrades for them at H3, keep getting upgrades from the blacksmithery, and just hopefully steamroll the game into ending sometime soon. Getting the siege would not be bad, and getting some mangonels again, because infantry is a lot harder to dodge mangonel shots with, and even if they do dodge mangonel shots, that, you know, buys you time to just attack them when you are not getting attacked. So getting a few mangonels out would be nice. But yeah, nothing changes for now. Probably could have had my scout in a bit of a better position. I was thinking about making a wall off, but I don't know if I just decided against it or just kind of was lazy and didn't bother. I decided to go for a small Run-By here. Maybe he's gonna achieve something. As I mentioned before, I feel like Run-Bys are very strong and they're underused. With knights, the Run-Bys, I mean, knights are still pretty good unit to run by, but since they don't have range, not as good as, say, archers or longbowmen or horse archers or whatever. But there's, you know, forces his units back, forces idle workers. 1 or 2 workers died as well. You know, I didn't lose anything, he lost something. Always a plus. Yeah, now as long as I have decent economy and have correct worker distribution, I just keep up my production of things, you know, workers and knights, maybe a few siege engines here and there, and I should be fine for the rest of the game. Really, I feel like at this point just he's dragging out the game where he basically is already lost. I don't think it is pretty much ever viable to not go for water on a hybrid map. I think the only thing you can do is go for a blind barracks and produce spearmen to cancel the docks, but the only way that's not going to work is versus Delhi, because the ships can shoot back. I think that could work if you go for a blind barracks and just try to snipe the enemy docks and then going for docks yourself a bit later. I've never tried it myself and I haven't really seen it in pro play because it's just a gamble for no reason, but I think it would work. Here, just, you know, I don't want to lose my dog, so I just focus down the ram and pull back my units. Have the mangonel go up. You know, if his units start chasing mine, have the mangonel destroys them. He decides to focus down my dock, which I think he will be able to get for the cost of all of his units. I think it will burn. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to get my units up to... Oh yeah, the ram is coming in. It's definitely not going to survive. So here again I just have my Mangonel do a bit of damage. I don't care if he goes to kill my... If he goes to kill my Mangonel, I go to kill all of his longbowmen. It's a trade I'm happy to take. Yeah, like I said before, the game is pretty much over at this point. The tower serves the purpose of saving 5 longbowmen. I'm gonna get rid of that ram and rebuild my dock. And it was really not worth for him to do this. Like what this push has achieved is it killed my single tower and my dock for the cost of 2 or 3 rams, and the upgrade obviously of the ram, just so that I will rebuild my dock shortly now anyways. The amount of money he spent, how much I'm gonna lose, is just not worth it, especially given how much I gained before he was actually able to stop it. So yeah, since I have the liberty, so you have to just chase down a ram, no reason to let it split your attention later in the game. Just make sure it just dies. My production is doing alright. I'm lacking a bit of food, but that's for obvious reasons of my dock not existing. Still transfer a few workers onto deer. Then we go for another small Run-By. It's better to differentiate the location of where your Run-By occurs from. But I send it in from the exact same point again, because in my mind the game is already over anyways. I'm just trying to send them the message that the game is indeed over. Here I could have split the knights, so I could have went for different groups of people and then killed more workers. But I'm going to be able to bait him into a Mangonel shot and then just force him to move under my Mangonel if he wants to fight me, which he doesn't want to do. Taking a shot from Mangonel, this unit is just gonna get absolutely decimated. So yeah, I just keep on my production in the background. Actually, very far away is the next gold is. I thought I could have. That is a bit of a mistake. Should have foreseen how far away is gold and done something about it earlier, or maybe just scouted around and see if there was a gold closer, because I don't think that was the closest gold that I sent my units to. Just didn't see the closer one on the map yet. Yeah, I could have looked away from the fight, no real reason paying attention to it. Like, I could have microed it a little bit and have a better result, but stopping my supply block is more important, I feel like. So I get a small mistake there again. And there's another. So I want to include every single game, more or less, that I have on this account in 1v1 into the series to create kind of consistency in between episodes, so that my MMR doesn't fluctuate too much. I might skip out a game here and there that I feel like is just serves no purpose, or I don't know, any other reason. Now here we have Mountain Pass Mongol versus English. Again, I just don't believe that English is that good myself personally, even though, as you'll see later, that might not be that might come back to bite me a bit. But yeah, also my Mongol is, I've played very little Mongol, but since they are kind of busted, I do want to learn them right now. So I do not have a good build. I wouldn't really follow much of what I'm doing. I wanted to get stone straight away, so that when I do end up going for silver tree, and which is my goal in the end, is to make a silver tree and go for a trade boom economy, so that I would be able to do so. But other than that, I just want to age up as fast as I can. I'm not used to the buttons for Mongols. I'm not used to the gear being on the building for resource drop-off. Just not the best Mongol player. Um, yeah, I just want to get enough gold and food to go to H2. I don't have a particular plan of resource distribution currently. Just wanna get to H2 and then start mass building traders. I first fully scout my side of the map so that I can pick up all of the sheep. If I spot his scout on my side of the map, then I will go over to his side. That way I should be able to pick up at the very least the same amount of sheep as my opponent does. And I do want as many sheep as I can, just so I can delay having to build I have no clue what they're called, but the Mongol sheep production building. Except don't play too much Mongol. Not much insight that I can provide so far in this game. Just fully scouting them up to get as many sheep as I can. Probably went for gold a bit too early. Could have delayed my gold by a bit, as I will have 200 gold way before I have 400 food. A bit of a mistake on my part. Well, actually quite a large mistake. The mistakes that I made in early game are much more have much more impact on the game than mistakes made in later game in terms of resource distribution, like timings. Like if you delay your age up by 30 seconds at H2 is not as bad as if you delay something in H3 or H4, as you can have more resources, so you can just adjust to it by a myriad of ways which you don't have access to in H1. So it's very important to get your build order and just play as perfect as possible in early game, just so that you don't lose out on anything. And now I see him on my side of the map, and I fully scouted my map, so I'm gonna go on his side. In my mind, I feel like you should have already scouted everything, and there's no sheep on his side, but you never know, maybe I'll get lucky. So yeah, my landmark is like delayed by, I would say, 1 minute, maybe even a bit more. Should have been down a bit earlier, like there's no reason for it to be this late. But yeah, like I said, not a big Mongol player. As time goes on, I'll play a bit more on my Smurf, get better at it, and then yeah, we'll see. The main reason is I played Mongol on Boulder Bay recently and just went for a very huge market boom, and it felt so insanely broken. So I like to play a bit Mongol on maps like these, where it's well, fairly easy to secure a trade route and then just go for a boom in that way. He did leave quite a few sheep for me, and as you can see, he already aged up. And I think at this point is where I already kind of almost lost the game. If my age up came in at the same time as his, I could have started pumping out horsemen, kind of in a similar time as he started pumping out longbowmen. But clearly I did not do that. I mean, my age up, I guess, doesn't really prevent me from doing that. Should have probably put my scout instead of gathering sheep now to see if he's indeed going for a push, even though I feel like the main problem with English is that it's so one-dimensional. You kind of have to go for a push, otherwise what are you going to do as English? You need to have used your early longbowman advantage and go for some sort of push. So yeah, I did start producing horsemen out towards time. Probably could have built another one, another stable to produce even more horsemen. I'm not actually sure what's the correct response versus longbowmen are. I feel like horsemen are just so weak that it might actually be worthless to produce them. But I just want them to work, because I just want the counter unit of the unit that's supposed to counter to actually counter the unit. As insane as that sounds, I wish that was the case, so I just kind of go for them in that regard. I'm gonna set up my silver tree basically as far away as possible to make the trade as efficient as possible. The efficiency of a trade route is, I'm not sure if it's, I think it's It definitely linearly increased, but I don't think it's a 1-to-1 increase. I think it's like a 1.5 or something increase, that the more distance you cover, the more gold you get. I don't think it's a 1-to-1 scale. I think it's more than that. So the further away you are, it's incredibly better the payoff is for gold you get from the trade. Yeah, so currently I just want to match his number of longbowmen with my horsemen, since horsemen, while not being perfect counter to archers and especially longbowmen, they should fare alright if you master 1-to-1, since they are more expensive. Now he's already bringing spearmen into the mix, since he saw me build horsemen, which is probably another reason why building archers would have probably been a better call. I should be able to outmass his mass with my stone production, and they would have just been beneficial. While longbowmen are, generally better. Well, not generally, they just are better. You can, as soon as you get in range, and that's really sad that I don't get to snipe his scout, because the vision it provides is going to be essential to him. But yeah, even though that archers don't fare as well against longbowmen, as soon as you get within range of longbowmen, they are no different to a longbowman. So you just get in range and then you can challenge them 1-to-1. As long as you have a bigger mass, you can just win with archers versus longbowmen. So maybe it was a mistake for me to go for horsemen after all. And I'm probably focusing a bit too much on getting my trade set up yet, because I have way too much workers on gold. Like, I have too much gold. If I had more food and maybe another stable, or instead of stables just archer ranges set up, I probably could have been producing more units and just been able to deal with his aggression better. But instead I'm going for another market so I can produce more traders. Now I built the market here so I can take advantage of the Uwu and mass produce my merchants. I think as soon as you grab whatever it is that you grabbed from the neutral market or whatever it is you're trading with, if you whatever the send-off point is, it automatically changes how much income they have. So say they went to the market and they will return with only 40 gold to this location. As soon as I redirect that location to my silver tree, it will change to the normal amount that you will gain from a silver tree at that distance. Which, is kind of weird in a way, but it is nice that you don't have to, do weird things to make things work. So here I still don't get the scout, and I sacrificed way too many units for it. That's 2 times that I kind of feel like I got a bit unlucky. If I got the scout earlier on right now and didn't lose as many horsemen as I did, maybe I would have been in a bit of a better situation than I am now. But yeah, that's that. I don't have much of the problem here again is that I don't have much of a plan. I just make units and hope that the units I make are going to be good enough to deal with whatever he has. I guess the closest thing I have to a plan right now is to get to age 3 and start making knights when I can. And it takes way too long for my units to get into that tower. I lost a few units, which is kind of crucial. You don't want to use, again, like any worker, the earlier it is that you lose workers, the bigger the damage of you losing workers is. Sorry, that is unfortunate. Yeah. So I'm still making a few traders to get my gold income up, because from my experience the trades become insanely broken eventually. So if I can survive and get my trade up, then I should just win. But the current problem is to indeed survive. Another problem with my response is that since I don't end up killing any archers at any point, the big of mass of archers he gets, the better they deal with horsemen. Just like horsemen have a certain point at which they can overwhelm archers, there's a certain mass of archers that you can make that just starts one-shotting them and makes them way more useless than they already even are. So, and I'm letting get him to the point where he has so many longbowmen that it doesn't really matter. Now I'm gonna start making pastures. Since I'm running out of food, I'm able to get a few longbowmen dead, but resource-wise, I lose way more than he does here. So this is, and again, I have way too much gold. There's no reason for me to have any workers on gold because of my trade. Like, there's zero reason for me to have any workers on gold. It's not the biggest mistake since it's only free, but you know, anything can make a difference, so why leave it up to chance? Yeah, I really think my main mistake here was that I first of all went for horsemen, second of all didn't play aggro enough to catch off some longbowmen to reduce the mass of longbowmen that he has. Those things combined did not make this the best game. Yeah, this is another reason, like I don't need gold yet, I lost another worker there for free for no reason, even though they weren't gathering something that I need. And he moved in a bit, you know, got damage done on him, that doesn't have a huge impact, but again, every little bit helps. I'm just unable to clip my workers on a berry bush apparently, so that's nice. And the main problem with longbowmen is they do basically outrange towers. While they don't do a lot of damage to towers, they don't take damage from towers, so it is an annoyance, I guess. At this point I am somewhat close for an age up, so I just want to focus into getting my age up going. Because as soon as I get knights, I should fare a lot better versus his longbowmen. And since he also is investing a lot into his units, I feel like he's not going to be as close to an age as I am. I'm gonna lose my market and probably my trader, but that trader was not worth for him to kill. He took way more damage than that trader was worth, which is nice. But at this point I just do not have the units to deal with him. Now here I don't go for the stepper, since again in the end I do plan to get a market economy going, but since I don't have that right now, I think that might have actually been a mistake as well, and it probably would have been better for me to go for the stepper down. Oh, I don't think I pronounced that correctly, but yeah, that in essence. I think that would have been more beneficial to me, but yeah, I did not do that. But the important thing is I am age 3 now, and I can start pumping out some knights. At this point again, my objective is to just push him back. If I can push him back and stabilize my economy, I can probably win this game. If anything, if I'm actually able to defend, I probably just win the game pretty much by default. So he goes for a 2-prong attack, and I want to test his multitasking a bit, see if he's actually able to contest my units to the bottom as he goes from the top, since his main army is on the top side and not on the bottom, but he'll be looking more to the top, and he again kind of ignores my units at the bottom. So this is a very favorable trade to me, even though it shouldn't have been as good. It went basically as well as it could have possibly went. Now I don't have any workers on gold because he's zoning me out for my gold, and he's castled himself, and that honestly really surprised me. I didn't think he would have the eco to match this, but since he's castle, this is like I have to go for him now, otherwise I'm gonna lose. I have to try to force him back and stabilize. And I am able to clean out his army here. And with knights coming in, I feel at this point that my position isn't even that bad. I'm gonna be able to get my trade going again, reset my economy, and hopefully be able to rebound into the game again. At least, that was my assumption. Since my OO was run out, I wanna go for another OO. Again, as you can see, I haven't played Mongol that much. Don't even know the location of an OO. Wanna go for markets again so I can pump out more traders. And I think this might have been another mistake here, since I just don't know what he's doing. If he's gonna be playing more aggressive or less aggressive now. But knowing that it's an English player, honestly, I think it's safe to say that an English player will never cease his aggression, because he's just like, what else is he gonna do if he's not gonna aggress? If he sits back and waits, I feel like he will eventually lose. Although against Mongols that might not be the case, as Mongols full of late game as well. But typically, I feel like English players would sit back. So here I really want to get this tower up, and I think I might be losing too many workers to do it. But I don't want to let him in on my side of the map. I probably could have added a few more nice production structures at this point, so some more stables, so that I can outmass whatever he is going for. Lose a few more workers, which I probably could have avoided, and I'm just gonna kite his spearmen around. I pretty much give up on getting those towers up, but at least I got one up there. And now worker dies, which is also very nice for me. I probably focus a bit too much on trade at this point, and focus more on unit production. I only have 2 stables and none of them are next to an UU currently, which is not very helpful. Currently I have 15 traders going, which is already a pretty strong eco. I really should have focused more on units, maybe even getting some siege going. A Mangonello 2 would have been insanely useful at this point in time. I don't even think my position is that bad right now, despite what happened in the early game. I feel like my position is honestly not even that bad. But my decision making isn't the greatest instead. I have more than enough excess food to go for some more stables, and I'm just not producing the amount of knights I should be currently. Could have added some Mongol along with my knights, with the knights trying to deal with the longbowmen, while the Mongol kite around the spearmen. But either way, it doesn't matter ultimately, as long as I add something. Now I start adding more stables, but I think it's too late at this point. I really should have done this earlier. And he has a mangonel of his own, while I don't have any springalds or mangonels or anything of that sort. Now I build the siege engine. Well, a workshop, not siege engine. Mangonels are also not horrible at taking out towers. Besides, like even stone walls can fall down to like, if you have 3, 4, 5 mangonels, well 5 I would say, mangonels can make a decent work out of stone walls, which again makes trebuchets even more useless, like, because you can't, mangonels will prevent any repair on the stone wall, while trebuchets don't really achieve that. So he has a way bigger massive units than I do. I have a few towers to prevent his, well not prevent, but to delay his aggression just a little bit. And now can produce my own siege. I started Springald, and I think again that's another mistake. I should have just went for Mangonel. As long as I can zone out his units, I'm fine. And he committed into a trebuchet, which is 500 to 50, which is just a big waste of resources. There's no reason to do that. That feels like a waste to me. Yeah, he just has such a big massive units that this game is not looking very winnable. If I had a Mangonel now instead of a Stringle, I would have been able to maybe land a shot on this and be able to defend this, but yeah, he was just gonna go and harass my work line, so I had to go for one final fight, and this is over. So there are a plethora of mistakes that I made this game, which I really shouldn't have, as a few of them were not related to being Mongol at all. But yeah, that's gonna be game, and that's gonna be it for this this episode. See you in the next one.